Hey, it's Eric with RegFox here. In this video, I'm going to walk through all the different settings inside the design settings panel over here that allow you to control the fonts, the colors, the links, as well as the page background colors and background images. I've done other video tutorials on the logo and the masthead that allows you to have header images and different patterns in the background up there. Also, I've done one on the banner field, which is this large one here. With a lot of different controls with overlays and video backgrounds, a lot of great things. So all these tutorials are helping you create the page of your dreams with a lot of design customization. So the last one here is to show you the design settings. And again, they're going to control the fonts and the background colors. So scrolling down here, let's take a look here at this heading here, and also down here. Anywhere there's a heading text block, which is one of those guys, we can control from the headings panel. So looking at the fonts there, we can change this to say a Roboto condensed font, which I happen to personally like. It's got a nice weight to it. It's condensed. I happen to like that one. So you can change that. You can change the size. You also can change the color. So you can change this to maybe a red color if you like. But notice how the banner did not change the color there. And that's because the banner has its own color settings. So you go down here and you can change the banner font color there because the banner field is designed to have text overlaid an image. So you get to control that directly yourself. And you can see the font choice here is going to inherit the headings font, but you could change that and override it if you happen to want there as well. But that's how those two work together. Now I can close this. I can go down to the paragraph text setting, which is going to be where all your labels are, where any of the body text is. And we can change that as well. So you can go here and you can choose a different font. Maybe you want Open Sans, for example. And so that will change the font family there. We also can change the colors. We can change it to, let's say, like a blue if we want. So that will control those fonts and colors, as well as you can change the sizes here. So be sure to be careful with these because you want to make sure your page is legible, it's clean, it's nice. So be gentle with the controls to make sure you're always optimizing for legibility and your customer's experience. Okay, let's close that panel here and let's look at the link colors. And so the text links, if you open up this, you also can control this and change this. Wherever there's text links in your page, we can change the color there. And we also can control the buttons. So maybe we want the buttons to be a blue, and so we can change this here. We can change them to be whatever color we want. So it'll control anywhere there's a button to your liking there. So that is the controls for the fonts and the font families and the colors there. The field setting, there's a few options in here, and you want to make sure you use these delicately because you want to make sure that it's always legible and nice to view. But default on most pages is going to have the text labels to the left. But if you want to change that, you could go to the right if you like that layout better. You also can go to the top. And so the top will kind of stack the fields this way. So these are all your own individual design preferences. The last label position is to hide them. And that's where you're going to use the placeholders inside the fields, and you're going to augment all the fields with individual labels and text blocks. Be sure to use that carefully if you do decide to use it, because you can get left with some confused customers who don't know what the given field needs to have in it. So default typically is going to be left field. And so that'll allow you to have the controls over those fields. If you've got somebody who likes to program websites with CSS, we do have a CSS editor. Open this up and you can write your own styles and overrides there. So hopefully that makes sense for the font controls. Let's go to the background settings here. And we have a foreground, background, and background image. And so what is here built into the page is kind of a foreground background, which is going to kind of be around this area where my cursor is, and then an entire page background. So let's go ahead and play with these settings a little bit. So right now the foreground is set to transparent, but I can set that to black, and you can see the difference there, where this is going to be the outer page background and this is the foreground. So we can bring this up, we can do a light gray, but if we want it to be all black, that's great. We can go over here and then change these font colors, and we can turn them into white colors here, and we'll move that up there. And so you can see we can now completely change the look and feel of the page. At the background color over here, it's set to white right now on this template, but again, you can change this. Again, all in effort to match your website if you want. You can change this however you like, and that's how that works there. Going over here to the background image, the background image is going to control the entire background of the entire window. So if we open this, we can choose an image here. Let's go find a city image, and let's go ahead and grab this one. And so you can see the image of the city is in the background of the page. So this looks pretty cool. I can do some fun things with the foreground if I want with this. So maybe I don't want this black overlay on the interior of the foreground. And so what I can do is I can use this slider here. This one on the side is the opacity and the transparency. So I can bring that all the way down to where there is, basically it's transparent straight to the background. So that looks pretty cool, but you notice that the problem is I can't see the text very well. So I can now, on the background image settings, go down here and I can turn on a background overlay, and I can choose like a dark color. And so it turns it instantly totally opaque, but I can use that little slider again here, and I can just back it off just a little bit. And I can bring a little bit of that image to clarity like that. So that's pretty cool. Again, it gives you a lot of flexibility for those design looks that you may want. And then in here, we have some different settings for how the background image itself is controlled. So be careful with these different settings. Always save, preview, and explore them. But you have ones from where you want the image to be positioned. So from the window that you see here, where do you want the image to be set? So center is where I have it set. And then the scale is going to choose, do you want to have the image fill the entire window or not? So I turned off the scale off, and you see the image doesn't cover the entire page because I turned that scale off. So that will not enlarge the image to fill the entire window or screen. The next one is to fill max width or height. And so you would use that if you really are being very specific with the exact background image, because it's going to stop whenever it reaches the max height or width of the window you're on. Most people are going to do the fill the entire background, and then you can choose the repeat or not repeat. I like to keep the repeat off, but if you have a pattern that is a kind of a step and repeat, you might want to use a repeating pattern here, and it'll fill the entire window, which is great. And then also you can choose whether you want the page to scroll or not. So if you want it to scroll, see how the image is scrolling with me there. If I turn the scroll off or set it to fixed, I move the page and scroll, and the image stays stationary. So a lot of controls here. And again, you can mix and match all of this stuff. So maybe I want to do the foreground color and do, have like a little bit of an overlay there. And maybe for the background overlay, maybe I want to do a blue. So we can go here and change that to blue. So you can see there's so many beautiful design controls here with this layout. So that gives you kind of an overview of the design controls here. Again, there's so many options here to make the page look beautiful, match your brand exactly as you want. So that's it for this demo. Hopefully that's been helpful. If you have any other questions, please reach out to our team. We'd love to hear from you, and I'll catch you on the next demo.